For months, the biggest question surrounding Lewis Hamilton's monumental shift to Ferrari wasn't just about his speed, but about the crucial, invisible dynamic that determines success in Formula One, the relationship between driver and race engineer. Pit wall chemistry is absolutely everything. It's the constant, vital link in a high-pressure environment, dictating strategy, managing tyres, and delivering critical feedback at 200 miles an hour. Today, Ferrari has finally made its definitive call on who will be guiding the seven-time world champion into the Scuderia's next era. And the stability of this decision sends a resounding message about Frederic Vasseur's long-term strategy for 2026. The chatter has been non-stop, intense, and fueled by observed friction. Throughout the preceding months, speculation ran rampant about a possible departure for Hamilton's current engineer, Riccardo Adami. This wasn't idle paddock gossip. The rumours were substantiated by the tone and content of several tense radio messages broadcasted throughout the season, raising significant questions about the on-track synchronization between the two crucial figures. The level of frustration, whether real or perceived, was enough to make this personnel decision the most anticipated non-driving move of the season. Whispers suggested a potential incompatibility that could undermine Hamilton's transition before it even truly began. Team principal Frederic Vasseur himself further intensified this mystery, publicly admitting that the team was genuinely considering all possible options when pressed on whether Adami would remain in the critical race engineer role, acknowledging the immense pressure to optimize the crucial driver-engineer pairing ahead of the radical new regulations of 2026. The stakes could not be higher for a team desperate to return to championship glory. If you're hungry for F1 news broken down for maximum retention, smash that like button and subscribe now. Hit the bell so you don't miss the deep dive on the biggest story in the paddock today, because what Ferrari decided today will define their next half-decade. The definitive news, learned by GP Blog and now understood across the paddock, is this. Lewis Hamilton will continue working with Riccardo Adami as his race engineer for the 2026 Formula One season at Ferrari. Furthermore, the decision for the other side of the garage mirrors this commitment to continuity. Charles Leclerc will also continue working with Brian Bozzi. The duo pairings, which had been under such intense scrutiny, will remain completely unchanged. A massive vote of confidence, or perhaps a colossal gamble, by the Ferrari management structure, spearheaded by Frederic Vasseur. This revelation, while seemingly simple, carries profound implications for the future operational efficiency and psychological makeup of the Scuderia. We must dissect why this stability, despite the preceding turbulence, has been prioritized. The background to this saga is critical. When Hamilton announced his seismic move from Mercedes, the natural expectation was that Ferrari might provide a clean slate engineer, someone entirely new to forge a fresh, potent partnership. Hamilton had, after all, enjoyed one of the most successful and enduring partnerships in F1 history with Peter Bonington, or Bono, a relationship spanning over a decade and 7 titles. Leaving that trusted relationship meant forging an entirely new bond, a process that is notoriously difficult and time-consuming at the pinnacle of motorsport. The previous friction with Adami, highlighted by numerous observers and amplified by Vasseur's previous comments, focused on the perceived disparity in understanding Hamilton's subtle feedback and requirements, particularly when adapting to a new car philosophy. This struggle was acknowledged by the highest level. Vasseur himself admitted he had underestimated the complexity of the step Hamilton had to make after leaving Mercedes, recognizing the deep-rooted habits and communication shortcuts developed over more than a decade with the German team. Vasseur's public comments, however, offer the essential clue as to why Adami is staying. Crucially, the team principal didn't attribute the difficulties solely to Adami's performance or personality. Instead, Vasseur reframed the issue as systemic, stating that Ferrari, as an entire team, needs to work together more effectively to help Hamilton extract more from the car and, crucially, to better understand what the champion needs. This directive speaks volumes about the Scuderia's current assessment of its operational shortcomings, suggesting that the friction observed in radio exchanges may be symptomatic of deeper structural inefficiencies within the communication chain, rather than merely an irreparable incompatibility between the driver and the engineer. By retaining Adami, Vasseur is essentially declaring that the required fix is not personnel replacement, but process optimization. This is a courageous strategic call. Firing the engineer would have been the easier, quicker, and more publicly palatable solution, a standard F1 scapegoating mechanism. Instead, Vasseur is challenging the entire infrastructure around Hamilton to step up. He is betting that Adami, already familiar with the inner workings of Ferrari and the pressure cooker environment of the team, can become more effective once the overall team support structure is perfected. This strategy minimizes disruption while maximizing institutional knowledge retention. Adami possesses intimate knowledge of the current Ferrari car architecture and the development pipeline leading into 2026, invaluable data that would be lost with an entirely new appointment. Furthermore, the simultaneous decision to keep Brian Bozzi partnered with Charles Leclerc reinforces this overarching philosophy of stability. Leclerc, too, has occasionally shown frustration after radio exchanges with Bozzi, indicating that the communication challenges are not exclusive to the Hamilton-Adami side of the garage. If Vasseur had swapped Adami but kept Bozzi, it would have unfairly isolated Adami and potentially signaled a lack of faith in the existing infrastructure supporting Leclerc. By maintaining both pairings, Vasseur conveys a unified message. The performance uplift must come from internal refinement, not external shock. This decision fosters continuity in a hypercritical period leading up to the regulatory overhaul. The implications for the 2026 partnership between Hamilton and Leclerc are enormous. By ensuring the engineers remain in place, Ferrari removes one potential variable that could destabilize the competitive dynamics between their two superstar drivers. Both drivers start 2026 with a known quantity in their ear, even if that quantity has been subject to previous criticism. This prevents the emergence of a potentially detrimental internal narrative, where one driver, perhaps Leclerc, is perceived to have the better or more functional engineering relationship, creating a toxic internal imbalance. Vasseur is demanding professional growth from both existing duos, forcing them to resolve their communication issues rather than running away from them. The risk, however, is substantial. If Hamilton's early 2026 pace is compromised by lingering communication issues, or if the relationship with Adami fails to mature into a seamless bond, this decision will be revisited with intense scrutiny. Vasseur will have eliminated his opportunity for a quick personnel reset. The team will be entirely accountable for the stability they have prioritized. The decision commits Ferrari to a defined, if occasionally strained, path. They are investing faith in the potential for improvement and synergy within the current structure. In essence, Ferrari is treating the driver-engineer relationship not as a personal pairing requiring immediate divorce, but as a critical technical subsystem requiring calibration and refinement. The decision reflects a confidence in the underlying talent of Riccardo Adami and Brian Bozzi, believing their technical abilities outweigh the currently observed interpersonal hurdles. For Adami, specifically, this is a massive exoneration following months of targeted speculation. He now has a defined mandate and the support of the team principal to optimize his relationship with one of the sport's greatest drivers. As Ferrari prepares for the official announcement, likely focusing on the broader 2026 operational structure rather than just these specific pairings, the message is clear. Stability is the bedrock upon which the next era will be built. This foundational continuity, in the face of inevitable technical upheaval that the 2026 rules bring, is designed to give both Hamilton and Leclerc a familiar voice and familiar processes, allowing them to focus maximum mental bandwidth on mastering the radically different machinery. It is Vasseur's biggest gamble yet, banking on maturity and systemic improvement rather than immediate chaotic change, to finally deliver the ultimate prize back to Maranello. Ferrari has placed its crucial 2026 pieces firmly on the board. Stability is the defining characteristic of this strategy. Vasseur is betting that internal refinement and systemic adjustments will successfully mitigate the previous communication hurdles rather than radical upheaval. The world watches to see if this continuity gamble pays off, delivering the seamless operational excellence required to challenge for a championship in the hands of their new superstar driver.